For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 69 of That's a Shame. I am, as ever, Declan.
I am, as ever, Isaac.
And, I mean, you've typed it in the notes already.
Mm-hmm.
This show, this particular episode.
A good episode.
Good episode.
Very
Is that
nice.
what you said? Did you say good twice?
Yeah, well, I meant to write once, but then I sort of looked away and I'd forgotten that I'd written good. But I re-thought about how's the show going to be, and the same word came to mind, and that word was good.
So, yeah.
Not great.
No, just
but
doubly good.
Importantly, not poor.
Better than good.
Yeah,
Less
good.
than great.
Yeah,
Good.
That's where we stand. That's our niche. We're trying to barrel through that tunnel.
We've got a few things to talk about today.
Well,
quite a
is
mix.
that the royal we? Because I've got fuck all.
Oh, well, yeah, no, we, as in I, as in me.
Good.
I mean, you may have noticed that last episode was titled Declan's Dreadful Day.
Yeah, lovely illustration.
I had indeed had a dreadful day, and I am Declan.
Yep.
So not only was it alliterative, it was informative.
And that's the balance we look for.
Now, the problem is that we've kind of used that now.
Mm-hmm.
We've blown that one.
Yeah.
And so soon after, I've only gone and had some more shit news over the last 2 days.
Oh, and you're not willing to change either of your initials to something else. So you can't alliterate. We couldn't change it to like Arnold's awful afternoon because you're not Arnold.
William's worst week.
It wasn't a week or an afternoon. Was it the whole day?
It was 2 days.
It was.
I'm saying it was from like, it was a 24-hour period, you see.
But
from
it's
about
spanned.
2 o'clock yesterday to about 2 o'clock today was the problem.
What's your middle name? Is there any scope there? Edward.
Edward's evil.
Evenings plus, and then in brackets, like, you know, the feet goes like
Evenings and early mornings.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
maybe that.
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes.
I got a parking ticket for being parked in my own space.
So that was a strong start.
I got in the car and I drove all the way to Barnet for this tutoring job, which was cancelled.
Good.
But I was still getting paid.
Is this another instance of that happening? Is this like a regular occurrence?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm having the opposite experience where I'm often like, I'm coming off the back of other work and I'm like, fuck these, I'm cancelling. I've 2 days in a row just cancelled all my lessons. Like, nah. I know I've got a new Sondheim book delivered. I was like, I'm heading home.
And I drove there and I was driving back and I don't know how I hadn't noticed it on the way there, but on the way back I noticed something stuck very parking ticket-like to the windscreen.
And what did it turn out to be, this parking ticket-like?
Turned out to be a fucking parking ticket.
It was very
is what
parking
it was.
ticket-like.
And charging me the marvellous sum of £100.
For parking in a pre-allocated underground parking space.
For which I have a permit, I was in the car.
I've been awaiting this. Like as soon as you interacted with a parking space where I knew there were people patrolling every so often, it wasn't even a question of if, it was just certain.
Yeah.
And it's actually taken longer than I thought it would.
Well done, me.
Yeah. So what's going on with that? Do you just
you
just roll over and take it?
I was going to... Fuck that. I will fight
because you've got £100 to spare, haven't you?
Dying day. I will fight it too.
We've all got that kind of parking ticket money lying around.
Like, I mean, they can come and fight it from my cold, dead, tight-arsed hands.
What if they said, look, we'll drop it, but you're going to have to move out of the flat and Colindale as a whole, and you're not allowed back to NW9.
I'll be staying here.
Right, but they've got, I think you're forgetting, they've got like a lot more resources already to have someone, a member of staff, come and patrol here. That's a show of force that we can't replicate.
Yeah, but they have to do it in a silly outfit where they look like a shit Gestapo.
But that's the thing. Like, you make that link to the Gestapo. Like, they look silly, but God, they got the job done.
No, but the thing is, the Gestapo, they looked hot. While they got the job done.
Right.
Whereas these guys, they're just clowns.
Clowning
they
around.
wish they were the Gestapo.
Do you think that's the dream of every parking attendant?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I shan't be paying. But the thing is I looked up because I was so angry. I was just in no mood. I was like, I've fucking had it with this bullshit. And I just wanted to ring up and yell at someone. But you see, cleverly, I think they realise this is people's response. So there's a nice little bit on the note saying, we don't take phone calls.
Oh, that is good.
Their reason is it's hard for us to enter oral recordings into evidence in
Yeah,
court.
no, because recording, you can't actually take down audio. Once it's spoken out of our mouth holes,
That's it, gone.
Can't get into another ear
That's
hole post.
probably why the podcast's faltering.
Floundering.
So you have to write to them.
As in pen and
A
paper,
letter, yep.
old school. They don't have an email address.
You have to write to them.
So this is, okay, they've gone for the, insurance claims thing of making it so complicated that
You
everyone
just
gives
pay.
up.
I shan't be.
No.
Especially now we've got this printer. I'll be sending letter after letter after fucking letter. So that was annoying. And annoying to know that I have to deal with it. It's going to be hanging over my head for potentially a further 49 days.
Wow.
So that's fun.
Do you think you'll have to go to court at any point?
I may well.
Because that would be really fun. Can I represent you? I have a suit in the cupboard.
At the bottom
and I'm ready
of the
to
list.
go. Are you joking?
You are at the bottom
I
of
would
the
dazzle
list.
them.
No.
With a display of just sheer force of will
No,
that they've never seen before.
But the thing is that I also know that if you felt it might in some way benefit you, if you thought it might get it over quicker, you would just sell
I got a
me
text
out in
that
a
was
deal.
like, "Oh, do you want to come for lunch?" Like, "Oh, no, you know what? Yeah, he was. He doesn't even live here, Your Honour."
I've never seen the cunt before in my life. So that was annoying.
Yeah,
and I thought that was about as annoying as the week could get.
Was it not?
But then today,
Uh-huh.
see, people will remember mentioning a student I taught called Norbert.
Oh, yes.
Now, Norbert and I it's been a mad couple of months where I've either been busy or he's been busy. And so we've met twice, I think, since Christmas. So we kind of called it quits on that. But there'd been a couple of times when either I'd had to cancel, the lesson hadn't been cancelled on the site or something like that. So a couple of the lessons needed refunding.
Uh-huh.
He was going to get in touch with Tutorful.
Yep.
So he did.
Yep. Seems simple.
So I got a call today
Uh-huh.
from them saying, "Hey, American girl."
Really?
Weirdly. Hey, it's also from Tutorful. You know, we're going
We used to be called Tutor, then we changed it because we're fucking stupid.
Tutorful.
You're right, it is worse.
And she was running through a couple of dates where the lesson had been cancelled.
Yep.
Were these right to be refunded? I was like, yep. And she was like, on something, she was like, you have the right to refuse
Remain silent.
this. And I was like, no, like, he's a good kid. Or so,
He's a good kid.
or so I thought.
Oh.
So,
If the theme of this is that you've been betrayed by someone who dares to go around life being called Norbert.
I have been shafted by Norbert.
I'm shafted by Norbert.
Yep.
That's an episode title. Just
Forget
pause
the
for 1
alliteration.
second where- Shafted. I can't even spell it. I'm going to spell it like Eddie
I
Murphy's
mean, the thing
Norbit.
is that when I start explaining why, you're going to realise quite how he's fucked me.
Okay.
And it's the most tragic, bureaucratic, unnecessary fucking that there's ever been.
You've got me intrigued, I will admit.
Anyway, so I'm going along and I'm saying, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Do that. And then she was like, so the way that this works is that it'll be coming, the refunds will be coming out of your upcoming payments. I was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Interesting.
I don't mind, take it out as and when needs be. And then that was all done. And I was getting ready to hang up the phone. And she was like, also, now we don't want to cause a fuss.
Yep.
And we want to, ease tensions for the pupils as much as possible. But we do have to raise with you an issue that was brought up in the emails that we have received from your student, Norbert, which is that he has informed us that whilst the lessons booked on the site were only 1 hour a week, that actually he was receiving 2 hours of tuition, the second half of which was paid by him in cash. Obviously, as you know, this is against Tutorful's
Law.
Exactly.
Law of Tutorful.
Policy that you signed up for. And therefore, we're going to back charge you for using the platform for all of these hours. And that totals £56.40.
Wow.
So she was like, of course, we'll send you an invoice for this and you'll have to pay it within 4 days.
Wow. Norbert.
Norbert has fucked me.
Why would he do that? What does he get out of this?
What's really interesting is that they think I'm going to pay it. That's the really fun bit.
That's mad. What I can't understand Norbert's thinking here. Have you spoken to Norbert about it? Should we get him on the show? I'll talk to him.
I can't look.
I'll get my suit on and get straight over to Norbert's. I've never
been more hopeful. Someone fucking fails every test they take.
That's so strange. What? So, hang on. I'm Norbert now. Okay,
I'm presuming that he's just got in touch, didn't realise that this would get me in trouble, and told them what was going on.
Why don't you just deny that it happened?
Pardon?
Why can't your approach be that
because
didn't happen?
They've already had a back and forth. Like, it's just
be like, well, that's why I'm tutoring him. He doesn't know what he's saying.
It says English, but really, I'm tutoring him.
Just reality beyond his grasp.
So I just went, yeah, sure.
Wow.
Whatever.
He's taken it. That's the problem.
Shan't be paying it.
But then they'll close your account down. I guess that doesn't really matter.
No.
In the long run.
No.
So you're parting ways with Tutorful.
Basically, I'm going to use the next, as long as I can, before they shut it down, to get as many clients on board as possible.
Change your prices to like £1. Yeah. Just undercut everyone. Change your prices to £1 an hour and your radius to the whole fucking world.
and then just meet them all personally.
Yeah.
And get them paid off of Tutora.
And then just copy Tutora into your payments anyway. Just be like, oh, you could have got a cut for this.
Ooh.
Bitch. Wow. Yeah, you have been fucked over there. It's at least not as much as I expected it was going to be that you have to pay back, though. How much do you say it was?
56.
So what's that for how many lessons?
Oh, God only knows. I don't know.
And they're charging the amount that you would have given them in commission.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 25% of whatever you're earning.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess, do you have anything you'd like to say? Because we've talked before about some of our listeners. Noah, for example, got in touch looking for avenues for money making. Tutorful, if you're on Trustpilot now, what's your rating going to be of the site?
They don't do negative ratings.
Oh, they don't? You wouldn't even go for the 0 stars?
No.
It's not low enough for you?
No.
Right. You want to go even lower?
I'm going to contact Google and just have them removed.
Wow, removed from the Goog.
Yeah.
You've got that power these days. That's mad.
The sheer force of my email, the absolute purity of the rhetoric, of the sheer vitriol will be enough to dispel any qualms they might have had about removing such a torturous and simply thieving site.
25% commission is pretty poor, isn't it?
That is bad.
Yeah. That's why I don't even really use them anymore. I've just skimmed all that client off into my own private life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Idiots.
I mean, you feel like you've hit rock bottom as far as Norbert goes. So I guess it's onwards and upwards for you.
I wouldn't like to say so, because I thought that last week with breaking down on the M1, I thought, well, at least it can't get much.
Yeah.
Ooh.
At least this is a cheaper bit of, problem that you've encountered.
Actually, interestingly, it's exactly the same price.
Oh, really?
In that I had it was £156 to get rescued and towed from the M1. And I've got £100 fine and a £56.
Oh, wow.
Invoice.
So it's just a weekly tax for being you.
It's the shit luck tax.
£156 a week just going straight into the pockets of just other people in general.
Those 3 fates from Hercules.
They're one eyeball that they all pass around.
Yeah.
That they bought with your dosh.
They've got my strength. They're just stamping on it, spitting on it.
Just giving it to different cats.
They're just...
I don't think they're ever going to cut it because they need that £156 a week lining their dirty witch pockets, I'd say. Well, at least what I was getting at is that if this is, if this is another step down, like surely 3 weeks in a row, it can't be another downward step.
Surely
that would be mental, wouldn't it?
Fast forward to Sundays.
So my family have all been arrested and deported, even though they're from here. Yeah, that would be a shame. Look, we've had some emails.
We're doing an early shame mail, aren't we?
Yeah, I like to just pepper it in and keep people guessing, because this is the new Wednesdays now. Yeah. People don't know what to expect.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
I firmly include us in that number of people who don't know what to expect.
Once we hit 17 minutes, Isaac's going to start speaking in tongues.
Into flames. Both. This is from Mark. This was last week, I think. We didn't get around to it. Isaac and Declan, good that you're back on track, and I'm looking forward to a twice weekly dose of your ramblings. Or should that be, spoiler, it should, sage pontifications.
That's the one.
That was going to be one of our names for the show. Was it?
No, they know that it wasn't.
Oh, because we released
did
that
it
as
in
an
an
episode. Fuck. Damn this transparency. My son and I love Black Panther. That's the film. I will stick by my previous statement that Marvel films are best seen on the big screen. This is now even easier as our local Odeon has opened an IMAX screen, so we do not have to drive nearly as far for this. What's your take on IMAX in general?
I've never seen an IMAX.
Have you not?
No.
Are you sure about that? Because a lot of screens are IMAX without you knowing that they are.
I've never been to see something that labelled itself as an IMAX screening. I've never booked to see one.
Well, I think it will.
I've heard they're good.
I think it will tear you apart mentally.
Okay.
Like,
right,
you won't
that's it.
be fixed for such a long time. You'll be limping for
Why?
weeks.
Well, just from all
It's
the size of the
dangerous.
camera.
What about the 4DX thing? Have we ever talked about that? This comes back to... Have you even seen the 4DX thing? Yeah, you have. It's the Wembley Cineworld. It's what it is, right? You remember we talked about 4D before with regards to how the theme park scientists discovered it before Hawking could. And then he killed himself, didn't he?
By a thirsty tram.
Yeah. So what they've done now is they've smashed that straight into the world of cinema, and you sit there in a giant unwieldy chair that vaguely rocks in response to things that happen on screen.
You mean the one right next to the toilets?
Yeah, that's the one. So you don't sit in that one. That's just a demo one. But in the theatre itself, you're sat there just like next to your friends, popcorn ready. You may be like just having a check of your phone before the adverts start, and then all of a sudden it will start rocking you about as if that's fun or agony. That's the bit I struggle to follow.
What I want is I want to watch such like nondescript films. Like, I want to watch
famously static.
Yeah, I want to watch like Casablanca.
What about 127 hours, but only after his arms got stuck? So it's 80% still.
Or just like In the Loop.
Yeah. Well, there'll be a lot of walking. You could probably get some like some forwards and backwards on the corridor.
Brief Encounter.
Yep, that'd be very static. When the train goes past there, I imagine that would be cause for the chair.
An usher just comes and blows in your face.
That could be a good thing for us to think about, though. Let's dive deep into what would be the absolute worst 4DX experience.
Well, there's probably various levels.
There are different ways you can interpret worst, aren't there? There can be one, as you say, that is like the most still, like the least exciting and engaging. But what about something that would actively kind of take you out of the world of the film because of its amount of motion? Is there any, like, what about Apollo 13, for example?
Right.
I don't want to experience that almost deadly re-entry in my own chair. I'm happy to just watch it on screen.
Yeah, I suppose that's, or maybe like one of the Final Destination films is probably, those are probably pretty poor.
Yeah. And especially with like Final Destination 5, the postmodern one, where they got all meta, because they knew that we hadn't quite got the formula after 3. We got there close on 4, but we could go either way. At 5, they were like, right, they know what's up. So they have a lot of fake outs, don't they? The loot and bus, we call it in horror. But it's not actually the same thing, I don't think, in this case. No. But like that gym scene where she's in like a world of terror. Every health and safety hazard is on offer. There's a thumbtack. There's a light that's dripping.
There's
some electrical wire. There's razor blades just everywhere you look. And
there's a tiger.
And then doesn't she just fall over and like break her back?
Just a shit dismount and breaks her neck.
It's such a great scene.
It's the most underwhelming moment.
But what I'm thinking is, I worry that maybe because of the bathos of that moment, unless they were like vibrating you to such a crescendo in the build-up, that final back-breaking death wouldn't have quite the physical impact that I want from 4DX.
Okay, all right.
So what I'm looking for is a film that involves a lot of motion, but the motion is somehow the bad part. A film about motion sickness. For people who suffer from motion sickness.
What about The Theory of Everything?
Right, so we wheel around. We're
fine, and then like just as it goes on, the chair just kind of like tightens around you.
Oh, so you're adding a fifth dimension, I think. The restraint dimension.
Actually, it's the 4DXL.
Oh, the L stands for what
Large.
exactly? Leaving the chair? Question mark? No. That's the one. Okay, so that's an interesting vector. So you're saying that instead of it being motion that we don't want, it's that the chair's forcing us to put ourselves into a character
to empathise.
Like, he must be in pain quite a lot of the time. Probably, I don't know a lot about motor neurons. Or LALS? JSL? Isn't that the shopping channel? JBL.
ASL. Omega.
I don't know a lot about
Suffering
ASL,
from age, sex, location.
But I imagine that in this
ALS.
incarnation, we're forcing... That adds something to the film, surely.
Yeah.
Because then it could be like just hitting your spine a bit and stuff like that. Again, I don't know a lot about the condition.
No, you put yourself down. I think you've got it. It's
I've
like
got
being
it
knocked
down
in the spine every now and then.
By a big comfy chair. That may or may not be restraining
money
you.
to be in to watch a movie.
God, that ice bucket challenge, I tell you. They didn't know how good they had it. So, what could we use then?
What about, do you remember when the ice bucket challenge was happening?
Yeah. Did anyone try and tag you in it to make you do it?
Yeah, I did it.
You did it? Oh, a few people tagged me in it, but I don't know why they thought for a moment
that you would even look
I
at
would
some
go
ice.
near ice or a bucket.
No, that Syrians, I think it was, started doing the rubble bucket challenge, where they would pour a bucket of rubble to.
It sounds like
draw
how
attention.
a mum would explain someone dying in a landslide to her children.
It was like a rubble.
He was playing with the rubble bucket, and now his head's all squashed.
So, but there's this amazing video of a guy doing it.
Right.
He's like in full Syrian garb. He's got a huge beard. And
gotta say, don't have a strong reference point for Syrian garb. So
that's just
I'm
your own ignorance.
Yeah, well, you know,
showing through.
I'll put that across to the listenership.
Picks up this bucket and just pours this rubble on his head.
Yeah.
And off camera, someone laughs and he kind of chuckles. But then he just immediately puts the bucket down and looks up and he goes, "But it is actually very serious." You're like, but you just poured a bucket of rubble on your head. He's like, people really are in trouble.
So what you're saying is that the action took away from the message.
I'm saying that, I don't think they thought it through.
And
I don't think they
that's
thought it
another
through.
danger.
Like, it was a nice metaphor for most things in life where they hadn't actually thought it through until after they'd done it. Like,
Yes.
I feel like while the rubble was falling, he was like,
maybe
this isn't the best vector for this message.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm afraid that we might venture into similar territory with this 4DXL. And to preempt that, we need to really put ourselves into the minds of a critical audience that are sitting there in this chair, probably thinking throughout, like, I need to know why I just moved left. Why did it just dodge backwards? If that's not correlating to a physical action on screen, it's at least got to be something psychological.
Right.
And that's why I'd like to suggest to you that there is no greater choice for the 4DXL than Pixar's Finding Dory.
Right.
Give me your first impressions.
Good.
Yeah, we've got the aquatic
enjoying
element that we know the chair can do. I mean, I haven't checked, but I'm almost certain it can dampen at a moment's notice.
And, just that kind of general floatiness, I suppose. I feel that sometimes
true.
in chairs.
Get this, the current that the Australian turtle lives in. How better to replicate that than in a chair? That will be sick.
How better to replicate that than in a chair?
Heard of
You're
the
right.
sea?
There's no better way. That is it. No, I think that's a pretty good choice.
What I like about Dory, rather than Nemo, because you'll be thinking, of course, why the sequel? And not only because it's a more, it's an up-to-date version. Like, we don't want to bore people with 2009 CGI or whatever.
Right.
But in Finding Dory, you have such a roster of swimming characters with very different abilities. Mm-hmm. We've got a squid, a starfish, a pufferfish, Dory, of course,
Beluga whale.
Now Nemo's got that gammy fin, so that's going to have a whole kind of link
that's
to
a bit
it.
of an ableist term. I don't think you can call it.
That's what they call it in the film.
Yeah, I know, but I've never agreed with that.
Well, neither have
He puts
I.
himself down.
I'm just saying it as Nemo would.
Does he call it a gammy?
Of course he
Doesn't
doesn't.
say.
Hey, Dad.
What'd you give me this gammy fin for?
Look, that
Look,
doesn't
son,
happen.
I'm sorry that you got this gammy fin.
Get back in your fucking anemone and shut the fuck up, okay? Daddy's trading. Daddy's trading fish coin.
Of course, you'd be the wonder lip. All those hundreds of little fish eggs, and yours with the gammy fin is the one.
Why have you
we
repainted him as like a John Goodman down and out character where he just collapsed
you
in the big
already
sea chair?
emphasised the accent I plucked for, so I'm just continuing it on.
I do
I'm
like
having-
this casting though.
Next
if this
time
was
it's-
live action Nemo.
Next time it's going to be Estelle from Frame.
Oh.
Nemo!
Oh, I saw an excellent video, a very, very good video that you would enjoy if you haven't seen already, which is a 16-minute episode of Friends edited to look like Chandler dies in it. Have you seen it?
Yes.
It's so good. We'll put it in a link. Let me
Yeah.
just type that. Chandler dies.
God, we haven't done that in ages.
What, linked anywhere
Yeah.
or anything? That's because it's an extra bit of effort we can do without. But we'll do it today because I think you should see this, guys.
Yeah.
TV again is another area where the 4DX could come in because we could
4DX
sell them
in your
into
own
the
home.
house. Yeah. Do you remember when the Lazy Boy
the
tried to come to the UK?
4DXLH.
What's the H for? Because it's not what we think. It's not home.
Oh, no.
That's what people forget about it. So it stands for.
Homely.
Oh, so you're saying it's what a kind of plain chair for the
Yeah.
everyman.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's good. I think it's a bit of a shame.
When you
word.
said plain chair, I thought you meant like an
Strap
aeroplane.
in. We've been in very different.
Top Gun.
That's him. So, what if, now I'm pitching here, what if the chair, rather than having to respond to pre-prepared motions, what if we apply some of this neural network, you know how it is, Harry Potter and the Giant Portrait of Ash, computer vision stuff. So the chair's got big eyes, probably in the armrests, like Herbie.
Probably just cameras, really.
Well, yeah, but we call them eyes.
Oh, right,
because-
I see. No, we
because
call
it's homely, it's in your home, and you want to think of it as a person that you're sitting in.
On.
Both.
Riding.
Yeah, a kind of friendly but ultimately benign steed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking these eyes watch the TV while you're out getting a bank of motions ready for you. So they'll go through, they'll test like, oh, Grand
does it-
Designs is on.
Does it then match them to what you are watching?
Yeah, because it's been doing all the research.
Right,
So maybe
okay, I
it's
see.
seen. Because you know, like 1 o'clock, they put on a load of the TV that will be back on later. So they'll be like, oh, here's The Simpsons on Channel 4. And then 4 hours later, it's like, here's The Simpsons. Hope you didn't see it earlier. So he's already seen that. Or
Right.
she, or they. The chair has already seen it. And they'll know, like, oh, Krusty's on screen, better vibrate. And then, like, probably I'll put out those 2 big foam bits like it's his hair, tickling your ears.
Right.
You're in.
Well, my only concern is... no, not concern.
Yeah. No,
Question.
Feedback.
Yeah.
Praise. Yeah.
Would be, does the chair know,
Yeah.
when to
But
stop?
let me stop you. It knows. It knows.
Because my fear would be that I'd watch my show,
Yeah.
I'd be watching Countdown, it would, be kind of like vibrating along to build the tension. It expels you into the air. You have a great
Can
time
jump up
watching
to
it,
6 feet.
and you're like, oh wow, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah, like your heart's like,
Yeah.
you want to come
But
down.
then of course it's a show for like the elderly.
Yeah, they're
really
very,
Countdown.
very near death.
And then so it goes to the ad break.
Yeah.
And on comes Parkinson for one of his
Michael
increasingly unironic adverts about death insurance.
Have you tried taking a bath without a big lift to get you in? It's a nightmare.
Well, guess what? You won't be anymore.
You can lift yourself up with this hired help. Consuela!
Or his ones for kind of like life insurance. It's like you don't want to leave people after death with lots of bills for you.
Yeah, like that one. Have you seen the bus adverts for life
Yeah.
insurance that are like, Mummy said, Daddy. It's. I can't remember the exact copy, but what the problem is that it's from the perspective of a now bereaved, orphaned
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
And that to me isn't necessarily the kind of vision I'd be trying to sell.
No, not to people who are driving.
Can I just say that if we're going to sell the 4DXLH, then we're not having any dead kids or kids of the dead involved in the advert.
Anywhere really in
Yeah.
the process. I don't
Or
think.
allowed on the chairs.
No,
That's a firm
that would be
stance.
perverse.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is that if the chair got good enough at its job,
Yeah, which it will.
of course,
Because it learns like a Furby.
exactly.
Up to 3 million words.
So Parkinson's advert comes on.
Yep.
It sees that the theme is about your death and kills you.
Oh, no, look. That's,
Or it doesn't like mean to. It's not like
Yeah, no.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to kill you.
Look.
But it just it actually accidentally manages to vibrate at the exact frequency.
Can I just ask you
to
a
instantly
quick
expire.
question?
Can you copyright this idea? Yes, you can.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Nothing of the sort. I just wanted to know if you were alive during, the time of the spinning Jenny, would you have been smashing out with shoes just to impede
not
that
at
kind
all.
of human progress?
At all.
If you'd been sitting there with Crick and Watson and that other one that we all forget to mention because it was a woman,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, got this idea about a helix," you'd be like, "Shut up, lads. Let's just go around the pub."
Bit of a dangerous shape.
Yeah, one of the more out there shapes. Double helix. Don't think so. Not on my watch.
Would not be listening to it.
Broken Britain. Because what I'm getting at, I guess, is that you're kind of coming across like, the podcast audience, they're quite perceptive, and you're just coming across a bit stupid, a bit of a ludder.
I'm just trying to preempt our, I don't want to say innate. I just want to say seemingly always hubris.
Oh, okay.
Because
Well,
we go into these. Oh dear.
What,
darling?
What was that?
No.
Yeah, no, you're right.
No. You're very misguided.
Different character flaws.
Very, very misguided.
I'm sensing a lot of projection, and that's something we can cover in another episode.
I wouldn't
not
deny it. I wouldn't deny it, but also your own pride.
It's not arrogant
going to
if
hold
it's
you back
true.
because we have all of these
It's
plans.
not arrogant if it's true, though. You do remember that slogan from back in the day.
Okay, and your most successful projects thus far have
All of them. Absolutely everyone I touch has turned to gold.
what I'm saying is we
What
don't
you're
want this to
saying
be
is
another
that-
film drunk.
That video sits atop an award-winning Patreon. If by award-winning you mean underfunded.
for a completely different product.
Yeah, different, but tonally. it's
totally
in the
identical
field.
because the
only
theme
tone
for
we've
Film
got.
Drunk was we'll put whatever we want
Put our
in it.
personality in a box. This is we'll
This
put
is
our
the
personality in your ears. We're just getting closer and closer. Now, look, to go back to your concern, I imagine you're the kind of person, if you're telling me that you're playing a character that's kind of raising this concern as if we were at a press conference, then what's your character called then? What would this
Probably
kind
something
of-
insufferable.
Mr. Lucas what? What would be the surname?
Riley.
Mr. Riley. Good question, Mr. Riley. Thank you. Can I just shake your hand just quickly?
Yeah, you can, of course.
I want you to know that you're
clammy.
a trusted customer.
I'm not buying your death
You're,
chair.
you're getting one for free, shipped to your house right now as we speak. Put your address down there. John will just take that down for you. Mr. Riley, you will have heard in the news that you follow the news and events.
As a journalist.
The current
yes.
yes. Oh, you're a journalist.
Oh yeah.
Where do you write for, if I might ask?
For the Guardian.
Oh, the Guardian in the UK.
The Guardian.
Right, and you're what? Like
Here in the UK.
an opinions, like a columnist or something? Just
No,
a blog.
chief editor.
Oh, tell me your name again, Lucas.
Riley.
Right, doesn't ring a bell. We must be reading different parts, I guess, of the Guardian. Probably I read the interesting bits. What field do you work in?
Pardon?
Which section of the news
I
do you
kind of
cover?
dot all over.
Right.
My degree allows me to do anything I want, really.
That's
so,
a good degree.
I kind of do tech, current affairs, politics, all that kind of
Tech.
stuff.
Okay, so you wouldn't be reviewing our 40X.
Oh, this is
HR.
for the cover feature we're doing.
Good. Well, that's why I wanted to get on top of this problem. Now, I think the Guardian, they follow a lot of the news. I get a lot of the news out of that Guardian, and I can only assume that the people putting it in know it in the first place, because I guess if we were to draw a graph of the cycle, they see the news, they shove it into the Guardian, that gets delivered to me, and then I'm reading essentially what they've seen.
Mr. You didn't introduce
Bernier
yourself.
Doyle.
Oh, Bernier Doyle.
BERNIER
I'm sure I can
hyphen
myself. DOYL. Yeah.
DOYLE.
So, Mr. Bernier Doyle, you
Sorry,
you seem
sorry,
to be...
Lucas. Let me just stop you there, because if it is going in print, I do just need to confirm that you've got the pronunciation at least, and it is.
Well, the pronunciation doesn't come across in writing, so that won't be a problem.
I'm
My
just
question
concerned that
was
if you can't say it, you can't spell it.
That's a very old-fashioned,
That's what we
potentially
learned.
ableist attitude.
Right,
that you have
okay,
there.
well, fair enough.
I will
I'll
have to be
reflect on
putting
that.
in the article.
I'd love you not to. Here is a £5. Put that in your little pocket.
Oh, wow. I'm worried that your graph about the way in which journalism works, based on some of the most facile and basic intuition anyone's ever been
fundamentally
subjected
correct.
to,
Right.
is an attempt to avoid actually discussing
because the
very
news
genuine
comes
error.
in at this side of the equation. And then what baffles me is how do they get it from I see a bit of news happen and then the next day it's just in print on everyone's doorstep.
I tell you what, here's the deal. If you answer the original question about the chair and about the problems that it might have, the self-learning AI, the 4D XLH,
the 4D XHL
chair.
We pronounce it de Huxel.
Oh,
will you put that across in?
Yeah, no, that's
for de
done.
Huxel.
Don't you worry. I've got a phonetic expert on that one.
Good.
If you answer the question about it and its potential dangers in terms of learning and attempting to simulate feelings or experiences that might be unwanted or perhaps even dangerous, then I can show you the very process by which that becomes news to you the next day.
The world's never been more dangerous. That's probably a fact, isn't it? You're a journo. That's a fact we can agree on.
No.
Never been more crime. I mean, I've seen evidence of a load of crime just this year.
Did you report any of it?
I'm a busy man. I've got a 4 de Huxel to produce. Stats.
And on that topic,
so just remind me of the question because this chat. I mean, we've got such rapport now. I've actually been mirroring your body language throughout the interview just to increase the rapport. Because I'd like us to see I, and I'm spelling that with the letter I and the number 2, and then another letter
and then just the word.
Actually, the word I is in there as well.
Okay.
And there's a big oval around it.
I in an oval.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question was, when are you going to admit that your chair will kill?
Kill is a strong word. Now, what is kill? Who is kill?
What is kill?
What is it to kill? Can a chair kill? Or can a chair provide an experience just the once that you'll, in some sense, never, and in some sense, permanently forget? Because isn't that what we're all aiming for eventually anyway? That final moment, the send-off.
Yes, but
and where better than the comfort of your own living room.
But what I'm asking
loved ones around you watching as you pivot away to Richard and Judy's book club.
Must that moment come in the ad breaks to a depressing game show?
No, by no means must, but by all means
shall.
Look, I
think we're on to
pivoting away from this chair. It was a mistake. I'd like to officially nix this one. That was a little Cambridge Analytica reference. Guys.
Well, I can't even tell you what the headlines will be.
Why do we even talk about this? Is it from...
It was because you asked me what I thought of IMAX.
Wow!
I said I'd never been. We talked about a far more complicated technology.
Anyway, the film was great, says Mark. A change from the
Black
normal
Panther,
Marvel
that was.
fare.
In case you forgot.
Count down the 4D experience. Next up, Ready Player One, which I can see right there. That was the sound of Declan loving it. Ooh, I bet that sounds nice when we listen back.
Watch enough ASMR to know.
I'm going to copy that sound and use it as a wind effect in something that we do in future. Just repeat it forever. Okay, I have not seen the film as yet, as it's not released, but I have just finished the book. Now, prescient here, Mark says, I sense, this is like a Yoda expression, I sense that you are about to tear it apart.
Mark, almost literally.
Yeah. So, says Mark, it's not a literary masterpiece. That
is a piece of understatement. And I think Mark knows.
Yeah, I think he's being wry. But the nostalgia factor far outweighs its lack of beautiful prose and intricate plot development. And, let's face it, gaping plot holes. Could any one person still at high school really have read, played and watched as many books, games and films as he claimed? Mark, that is the least of my problems with Ready Player One. Which start and in some ways end with the fact that he's called Wade Watts. Because no one called Wade should be allowed prominence in any capacity that I can think of.
Well, I hadn't actually even got that far.
You haven't even got to his name?
That was his name. Nope.
Surely that's the first line of it. No. Hey, my buddies call me Waddy, but you can call me Wade.
I have only read the first 9 pages. That is the prologue.
So you ordered this book because we talked. I don't know how much we talked about it on air because, frankly, I get confused about what we talk about on air and
off,
just because it's basically the same. But yeah, you ordered a copy based on my recommendation.
Not recommendation. You told me I had to read it for the show.
Oh yeah, so it was a strong order, the kind that the authority figure behind the show would be allowed to provide. That kind of dictate. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So you've got a copy sitting here now, and we've decided that we're going to do something with it because I, having read it years ago, know that it is rich with stuff that we can complain about at length. And there is going to be, with the film coming out, it's zeitgeisty enough that we can maybe pick up another listener or two. Is that too much to ask?
Possibly.
In this workaday world?
We'll pick them up, but they'll probably listen because they're fans.
No, the backlash is going to be big. It's going to be big.
Thank God.
I can tell. There's already been that amazingly titled article that was like, Ready Player One is a dreadful book and will be an even worse film. What a great title for an article.
What about that one that was, Will Ready Player One be the Black Panther for gamers?
That is honestly the stupidest thing I've ever heard anyone say. If that thought flashed across my mind while I was like waiting at a bus stop, I would lie down in the road and wait for God to seek vengeance because it's truly poor.
On that note, though, like because it is something that people tend to do. I mean, I mentioned before about the Your Movie Sucks guy and his observation about how films or critics feel the need to compare horror films to either Jaws or Psycho. But it does seem that you can't critique anything without referencing something else.
Yeah.
Which probably explains the success of Ready Player One.
Because it is a book. It is like a spider web of just things that already exist.
Yeah.
The book is basically a 4D, 3D. God, I'm thinking ahead. Let's get back on this chair. So you're sitting there, you are Pac-Man or your friend there's a ghost on your leg. The chair pivots in a big way. Excuse me. Coughing away.
I'm dying. But my point being that we mentioned...
I wanted to read the blurb.
No, it isn't on the back anyway. We mentioned already some of these. Yeah. I mean, in the trailer for... what's it called? I, Tonya.
Yeah.
There's the review that says it's the Goodfellas of figure skating.
Which is a profoundly stupid thing to say.
Well, this one says enchanting of Ready Player One. Willy Wonka meets the Matrix.
That sounds like a much better book.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka. What does it mean he meets the whole Matrix? How would we make that?
Him just shaking hands with a big line of code.
And you'll be just singing to a zero.
Lots of green letters. Imagine the world at stake.
Okay, I'm imagining
an epic struggle between good and evil. Is this sounding original yet?
I don't think
the greatest quest in history.
I feel like it's very much
the fate of humanity resting in your hands.
Right.
Are you ready?
Brackets player one.
I haven't even bothered with that.
Lazy.
So, let me talk about just a few things.
Okay, but this is just a teaser of something that's yet to come. We're deciding whether to make this thing we catch up on in episodes from time to time. We've got my friend Matthew reading it. I've been trying to get him to read it for years to get his hot take on it because I know that it will particularly infuriate him. But we're debating whether to do it in this show, to do maybe like a standalone mini series of episodes, like one per chapter. Yeah. Maybe some video content on it.
That'd be quite cool.
Dare I say, of course, it will be coordinated with your Forder Huxels. That goes without saying. But yeah, give us, I guess, an intro for the kind of thing people can expect. No pressure, but this is now a trailer for that project.
So the first line is, everyone my age remembers where they were and what they were doing when they first
9/11.
Heard about the contest. Now, my first thought there was it's a very, very weak way to attempt to establish the importance of your story.
To just tell everyone that.
To compare, A, to just tell everyone that it is, and B, to do so using the exact phrase of something like JFK assassination.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers where they were and what they were doing.
Yeah.
That was my first thought.
Can I ask if the contest is capitalised?
It's not, no.
That's pleasing to me.
On the note, though, that I just said, I was really annoyed. I was like, that's just cheating. You've just taken the euphemism. Not 2 pages later, we have the sentence, the entire video was just over 5 minutes in length, and in the days and weeks that followed, it would become the most scrutinised piece of film in history, surpassing even the Zapruder film in the amount of painstaking frame-by-frame analysis devoted to it.
Wow. Fuck you,
twice
JFK.
in 2 pages, he has attempted to usurp JFK's assassination with his own...
So what you're saying is that this book is an attack on JFK more than anything else?
I hope so.
More than a romp through a childish and underdeveloped look at virtual reality. This is just an attack on America's sweetheart.
James Halliday.
Yeah.
I just hate that name.
I
much.
do as well, but I wonder if that's just bias because I know that it's used so shittily.
Because I recorded a few thoughts while reading the prologue, and like I did say, that's probably unfair, but I do just hate it.
No, but I think there is something about it that is poor. Like there's some rhythmic thing. I think that James doesn't go with Halliday for me in a way that implies any authority.
I'm certain that isn't Halliday or something almost indistinguishable. Isn't that the name of the guy?
You're thinking of Holiday
in iRobot?
Oh, maybe
that James Cromwell plays.
Are you thinking of the robot?
No, the guy who made the robot.
Oh yeah, I don't remember stuff like that.
He was the video game designer responsible for creating the, all caps, Oasis.
Yeah. Does it tell you what it stands for yet?
No.
Trying to hazard a guess?
No, I'm not. No. Don't. You can't interrupt me too much because my thoughts on this are so fragile. Because it's been a real struggle for me to put them into anything that approaches language.
Rather than just fists.
Screams.
Oh no.
Oasis is perhaps the most pathetically unimaginative name for a large online video game. Escape, exactly.
Yeah.
Haven. But then, a massively multiplayer online game that had gradually evolved into the globally networked virtual reality most of humanity now used on a daily basis. That's the internet.
Not so virtual. Well, I guess virtual in a sense, but we don't Oculus Rift our way around Google yet.
No, but it is virtual.
Yep.
It's got most of reality on it.
Quite a lot.
It's globally networked.
Yep.
And humanity uses it on a daily basis.
Halliday has got Internet 2.0. 3.0 maybe. Not 4.
Now, I mean, the next bit is just bullshit. Like, it's the laziest attempt at world creation ever. Because it's just ours, but worse.
Right.
But also better. Doesn't matter which, seemingly. They've got this great big game. There's still wars, though. 6 wars.
Oh,
apparently. Widespread famine, poverty, disease, ongoing energy crisis. Well, if they turned off the fucking game, they might not have one, won't they? Now, a few more problems. These references. Now, I mentioned in our chat with Matthew about these references that they are for no one, right? Here are the scenarios. You see something written down. Let's take perhaps my least favourite example. The 1989 film Heathers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right. 1989. How many people do you reckon saw it in 1989?
Everyone.
Right, that's right. Almost no one.
I think it was every person.
So for most people, it's probably not an 80s experience, probably a post-80s experience.
Well, it's almost the 90s anyway.
Exactly, right? So you see that written down. Now, either you know the film Heathers because you were alive in the 80s or because you've seen it in the 30 years since.
Yeah. I'm in the second category.
Right, there you go.
How about you?
Same.
You didn't see it in...
I didn't see it in 89, no, it was 5 years before my time.
Fair.
In a very literal sense.
Yeah.
Either you've seen it, in which case you've gained nothing, unless the simple act of saying, hey, I've seen that film, unless that is what you're getting from this book.
Spoiler, it is.
Well, look up a list of films.
But
literally go on IMDb.
I'll give you one more bit of an adrenaline rush that I got from hearing that. And I haven't even reread it. Finding out the date, the exact year.
Yeah,
because there's nothing that grabs me as a reader more than boring chronological detail.
Oh, exactly. Well, you'll be pleased to know that was number 2 of 4 footnotes on that page explaining some particularly detailed references.
Footnotes?
Footnotes, that's right, because that's what makes art fun.
So hang on, is it self-consciously a book then? Is this like his diary?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So either you see that and you go, hey, I saw the film Heathers,
Cool.
in which case you must have a fucking riot. Just scrolling through IMDb.
Wikipedia
Whoa,
must be
seen that one.
laugh a minute.
Or if you're a normal person and you look at that and go, yeah, I saw that film.
Yep.
You've gained nothing. If you don't know the film Heathers,
Yep.
it means nothing.
It is an over-reliance on comparisons that it's assumed that we all have or B, care about, or C, preferably both.
Yeah.
And
And so
in
the only
fact-
person getting anything from it is Ernest Cline, who is sat
the author.
wanking into his palace of
Pac-Man.
smuggery. I hate him so much.
Do you think he's had sex with an arcade machine?
Definitely.
And do you think that's how this book was born?
Now, there's a bit later on where he refers to arcade machines as coin operated.
Right.
Like the coins were actually doing all the heavy lifting. Not that you just have to pay to play the game. That comes in the same sentence as the singular most unimaginative piece of writing I've ever had the misfortune to read.
Mm-hmm.
The list had 10 numbered spots, and each displayed the initials JDH, James Donovan Halliday.
Cool name.
Followed by
That Donovan's really saved the James Halliday.
followed by a score of 6 zeros. This high score list quickly became known as the scoreboard.
That is funny.
The scoreboard.
Wow. How did it become known as the scoreboard? This board of scores?
I tell you what.
God, there's a tale in there.
Because I thought I'd forgotten coming into this the thing you told me about egg hunters.
Yeah.
Because they're searching for Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So they were known as egg hunters.
And that quickly became a
Truncated to the nickname Gunters.
I think you have to pronounce it with a lot of Gunters.
Gunters.
Have a lot of phlegm going on.
Now,
That is the worst word ever created in fiction.
my observation is that society isn't actually that stupid, right? In that if you look at any group at any period of history, we have managed as a species to come up with better, cooler, more interesting names for groups of people.
Then
Just even racists, right? Take any racial slur you want. More imagination and thought.
also, Gunters to me sounds offensive.
Yeah.
It sounds like it means something
more
bad.
thought has gone into any racial slur you pick than went into Gunters. So even the racists,
What do you think he tried before he landed on Gunters?
nothing.
You think that was
Literally
the
nothing.
first one?
It was the first thing he thought. He went in knowing that was what they were.
I think in his first draft, he just called them egg hunters and then was like, hang on, guys, can save a bit of words here.
Find all, replace all,
Yeah.
Gunters.
Saved 4 pages, win for the trees.
It's just lazy, right? It's so cliche.
I think that sentence about became known as the scoreboard is emblematic of everything that you will go on to find fault with.
Well,
because
like-
it is like a series of meandering and obvious plot points tied together by writing that pretends otherwise. That's like, and then I happened to know exactly the video game that would solve
well, yeah,
puzzle
exactly.
one.
Like it doesn't matter, does it?
No, because there's no stakes because he is the best at everything.
Yeah.
Like it's not even close.
It's just a perfect hero. Like I mean, even here, I hate. Not only is the story cliche, not only is the idea cliche, but every single stylistic choice is the most hackneyed one possible. Another year passed, new line, and another new line, still nothing. Then, on the evening of February 11th, 2045, an avatar's name appeared at the top of the scoreboard for the whole world to see. After 5 long years, the copper key had finally been found by an 18-year-old kid living in a trailer park on the outskirts of Oklahoma City.
You know that is. Don't you?
New line. That kid
Who? What?
was Albert Einstein. That kid was me.
Do you know his avatar's name yet? Can I tell you it? It begins with a P. He's called Wade Watts in the real world, right? What do you think? If your actual name, if you've been cursed with the name Wade Watts, like some sort of off-brand superhero, which is something he definitely talks about, what do you think would be the hallmarks of a name you'd go for to kind of subsume that shit identity in a much better one?
I'd try and be going for something like more powerful sounding, maybe strong.
Do you think the strength, is it going to be from a brevity, like we bring it up a few times, like Thor, that tells you where you are with Thor, or is it going to be like Boblet the Wise?
Oh, the second.
Okay, well, I guess he's leaning in that direction because it sounds a bit like a cross between Knights of the Round Table era with maybe a robot snuck in and met them. That's it. It's Prancer. It's Parzival. Parzival. Just process that for me. Parzival. I think that's right. Have a quick flick through.
I'm not looking. I have in my flicking seen that there's a character named far too many times whose name is Art Threemis.
Oh, yeah. Art Threemis is the love interest. Yeah.
Of course she is.
Yeah. But actually, what you're going to go on to find is that there's a really, I won't say feminist, because actually it's not.
The opposite.
Yeah, message about her, which is, just as spoilers if you are going to see the film, she's got this avatar that's like quite compelling. She's not too attractive. Now, that's a key thing. Because if she were too hot, then, she'd probably be a bitch. That's how women work, isn't it?
That's it. I've noticed that. I've actually seen that in my own research.
Yeah, like and literature's been keen to explore that idea that you're either the Madonna whore complex.
Yes, exactly.
And so she's taken, and I think this is good to men, she's taken like a middle ground. She's hot, but approachably hot. Now,
Next door, kind of.
Yeah, sort of that vibe. In real life, when they eventually meet, another spoiler there, she looks just like her avatar, but she's got a big birthmark on her face. And he still loves her.
No.
Because he's a hero!
Wow!
Parzival.
And he still loves her.
That's mad, isn't it? It's incredible. Like, it's
that
like
kind
Christ.
of selflessness.
Yeah.
That is like giving yourself up.
The New Testament.
I mean, I actually stopped and closed the book at page 9, partly because I'd recorded 45 minutes of a rant. And secondly, because I just couldn't take any more.
Fair.
But the first section of the book is titled Level 1. And underneath is a quote from Anorak's Almanac.
Oh, yeah. It's a shame that becomes the name of the book.
Now, Anorak
Yeah.
is Halliday's avatar.
Yeah.
His almanac is...
He's really done a good job of telegraphing that he's probably a paedophile.
Yes.
That's good. Anyone called Anorak who owns anything approaching an
Who
almanac.
chose to be called Anorak. Who was called something else, but decided to call themselves Anorak.
Imagine if someone sidled up to you and offered you Anorak's almanac.
Being human totally sucks most of the time. Video games are the only thing that make life bearable. Like,
Good
I have
quote.
so many problems
Choice
with this.
quote.
First of all, it's just such garbage writing.
Right.
Second of all, it's such desperate fawning for the video game
Pandering.
audience.
Yeah. Well, that's the book is pandering.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's pandering, like, to the extreme, like, just to a new level. I've
guess
almost got admiration for
that's
the guy
what I was about to say, because
he has managed
he's
to
nailed
make
it.
an awful lot of money from doing nothing but list a few games.
But then you have to ask, like, if it's intentional or if he is so much his own audience that just
oh no,
happens
he is.
anyway.
Like,
I've not seen any interviews with him.
because there's a thing about how Halliday, he created this game with all of these obscure pop culture references.
Yeah. Because he's seen all the stuff.
The word obscure
Yeah.
is used.
Well, you wouldn't have heard of it, probably.
You wouldn't have heard of any of the things
Yeah.
that are in this.
It's
even
like
though-
Ferris Bueller, offbeat stuff.
exactly.
Pac-Man, you know.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. Nobody really picked up on Pac-Man.
No, I mean, it's been a
It's really
sleeper
left
hit.
behind.
Yeah.
And that he did all these because he grew up as a teenager in the 80s. And look, I know it's often the reader's downfall to see the author in the characters, but I did just a quick Google of the old Ernest Cline, and you wouldn't believe
What?
he was only a teenager in the 80s,
He was himself.
born 72.
That's why it
So
rings so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the authenticity that I latched onto when I suckled at the teat of that Ernest Cline creation.
Some of those obscure 80s references include his The Muppet Show t-shirt.
The what?
The Muppet Show.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Oh
that
no,
one.
you haven't heard of that
What
one.
are they about? Is that a Pac-Man.
Winona Ryder.
That's like Tomb Raider.
Ever heard? Oh, yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. Or is it a driving game?
Apple computers.
Yes, like the iPhone. Yeah.
Basically, but older.
What? Oh, like the big ones. Yeah, I know what you mean. The iPad.
Dungeons and Dragons.
No.
These are just.
I wasn't a teen in the 80s though. I was a teen in the noughties. So I guess it's over my head.
It turns out that those things were only elucidated after what the footnotes call careful analysis of the scene. So they really scrutinised it.
In order to find that there was a list of
I'll tell you why I don't like this fucking James Halliday. Because he's a cunt. Because his fucking video is the most nauseatingly cringe-worthy.
I can't wait to see Mark Rylance
bullshit.
do it though in the film. It's going to be so exciting.
It's Mark Rylance.
It's Mark Rylance doing
I
James.
can't watch this
He's
film.
James Halliday. We're going to see it.
I'm not
100%. I'm getting you a Meerkat ticket. You're in.
This is how I have
Ticket
to
for
dress up.
Meerkat. You have to just bounce a lot. That's what they do, isn't it?
I, James Donovan Halliday, being of sound mind and disposing memory, do hereby make, publish, and declare this instrument to be my last will and testament, hereby revoking any and all wills and codicils by me at any time heretofore made.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good because if you can chuck
He
in a paragraph
continues
of
reading
legalese.
faster and faster, ploughing through several more paragraphs.
Such a
of
good reader.
legalese
I fucking love
until
it.
he's speaking so rapidly that the words are unintelligible. Then he stops abruptly. Forget it, he says. Even at that speed, it would take me a month to read the whole thing. Sad to say, I don't have that kind of time. He drops the scroll and it vanishes in a shower of gold dust.
Fuck.
Let me just give you the highlights.
He's hot. He's the man that men want to be him, women want to be with him. That's James Halliday.
Here's the dough I'm putting up for grabs. What the hell? Can't take it with you, right?
You're characterising him like a sort of 40s carry-on army
He
soldier.
is! Now, I'm sure you're wondering... What? He uses this phrase. I'm sure you're wondering, what do you have to do to get your hands on all this moolah?
Ugh.
Well, hold your horses, kids. I'm getting to that.
Does he only speak in idioms and
Yeah.
painful euphemism? Because that could get grating.
There's a bit like... I hate that everything in this is so clearly designed to be Ernest Cline trying to show off all the things he's seen.
Yeah.
And all the words he knows, even if they're not impressive.
If Ernest Cline was over at our house and we were like, "Oh, Ernest, we're going to watch The Killing of a Sacred Deer." Yeah, guys, I've seen it. I've seen it 4 times.
He breaks the fourth wall, comma, addressing the viewer, comma.
Is that what that means?
Begins to read. Yeah. Oh, yeah, did you not know? Because he'd helpfully put that in
He added that for the layman.
Yeah.
That's thoughtful.
I mean...
Because I haven't seen as much stuff.
He is like the adult version. You remember when we did our bullying episode?
Yeah.
Not our bullying. What was it?
Social conditioning episode. That's what it's been titled in the case.
And we talked about how, as kids or as younger adults, you can fall into certain habits.
Yeah.
And society's supposed to just slap you out of them. Be like, hey.
Oh, don't be doing that.
Yep. I was a kid who knew every Monty Python line, quoting it non-stop, day and night, right?
Yeah.
Thought it made me really cool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thought
to
it
hear
made me
that.
great. But I've since learned that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Quite the opposite.
I enjoy it still, but I don't need to go around quoting it.
That's good.
I don't need to speak it along to all the films. I don't need to make it known.
Uh-huh. But
That
the
never-
book
that
that you're
never
writing, it's going to be full of it.
That never happened to Ernest Cline.
Uh-huh.
Ernest Cline was a kid who he didn't really have any friends.
Almost.
Right?
Certainly.
He didn't have any friends, and I don't think his parents liked him very much. Right?
That's why they just got those ghosts from Pac-Man to look after him.
They were at work, or they were fighting, or they
They're
were
in
fucking,
Luigi's
or whatever.
mansion.
And so he didn't really have anyone to talk to. So what he did instead was he went through their entire DVD collection, and he learnt all of it off by heart. And but then he realised he wasn't interested in that. What he wanted to do instead was he would trawl through the IMDb pages of every single film, going,
This is
not
the
looking at the
80s.
cast,
Stop
not looking
it.
at the cast. He's not going to look at the cast. It's not interested in the cast.
It's not about the actors.
He's not interested in the dates. What he's looking at is the trivia pages.
That's how
he
you
wants
get
to
them.
know the little cool fact. What did Stanley Kubrick say to Jack Nicholson on the set of The Shining that made him do that particular eye twitch in scene 33?
It is
And he
pretty
learned
cool.
every single one of them. and he vomited them out into this unholy mess of a book.
Mark
and the fact
says,
he's made millions from it is sick.
Putting all that aside, I lived through the 80s, so all the music, game and console references left me feeling all nostalgic and warm and fuzzy. Regards, Mark. What do you say to that?
I'm glad for Mark.
I've got to say, I enjoyed reading the book because I enjoyed it on two levels. First of all, the story is at its core so pleasingly obvious that there's a certain enjoyment in it. Just sort of, it's like someone showed you the first step of a comic book, like the first page or panel, whatever they're called, and you've just filled in all of them, and then you turn the page like, oh, it is that one. Oh, look, it's that one as well. Oh, this one's a bit different. Turns out this character's... I'm not going to spoil that bit because that's going to knock you for 6. But just keep in mind that people aren't always what they seem in the Oasis.
Oh, what, like on the internet?
Yeah, pretty much. So I found that entertaining, but I also found entertaining the fact that I knew when I read it, it was when they first announced that the film was coming out. And even then I was aware that years later down the line,
You'd make me read it.
I would be inflicting it on and being able to discuss and tear into, because it is quite, I understand its appeal to people who just enjoy the nostalgia of it. Like, it is nice to just sit there and go, oh yeah, all these things happened while I was of a very impressionable age. But if you aren't of that age, which I'm not, then it gives you a real clarity on, but also this is bullshit.
But I just don't understand the feeling of like just
pure nostalgia,
of reading its name. Like, if you were watching television and an episode of an old show came on, you're like, oh, I used to watch this, or the song came on, I can get that. But
we do spend a lot of time talking about 90s children's TV.
Yeah, but
so I worry if it's just not a question of scale. Like
no.
Maybe if we're 10 years down
But what I'm
the line.
saying is that if I read in a book, it was like, oh, and she had the same eyes as Mona the Vampire, I wouldn't think, oh,
cartoon
Mona the Vampire. I used to watch that. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What I like is, I quite like if I see it, or if, like last night where we were just going through and watching the intros to all of them. That's fun. Where it's the actual thing. What I don't understand is this kind of weird vessel. Why reading Ernest Cline having written, oh yeah, looked a bit like Pac-Man, makes you go, oh God, the 80s.
Pac-Man is our only reference that we know from 80s video gaming. Space Invaders. I'll edit us in. Just give me a clean take of you saying Space Invaders.
Space Invaders.
Good. Now give me one with upward intonation.
Space Invaders.
Space Invaders, like that.
Space Invaders.
Good. That'll be good. I'm just going to go and cut those
Space
back in.
Invaders.
I understand the appeal is what I'm saying.
I don't.
I think you will become awakened to it as you go through the book. And you and Wade, you'll grow to love Wade in a very, very holistic sense.
I despise Wade more than any narrator I've ever encountered.
You're going to love the sequel. Ready Player 2.
I would rather spend a week with Humbert.
Wow. Well, you're not really his demo, so I think you'd be fine.
No. But I'd rather be seen hanging out with him than I would Wade.
People wouldn't know what Wade looked like anyway, for the most part, because he's just a gangly little
Because
idiot.
he's just pork chop, whatever the fuck his name was.
We've had another email from A. Roo, as in kangaroo.
As in Kanga.
Title, Theatre Etiquette. Dear Isaac and Declan, correct order. Lots of movie discussion on the podcast lately, to my delight. After a particularly rough viewing of The Strangers last week, have you seen The Strangers? Yeah? Am I thinking of the right one? Liv Tyler,
Yep.
House Invasion.
That's the one.
Why'd you do it? Because you were home.
Yep. That's
Very, very chilling line. Rough viewing of The Strangers last week with a number of rowdy moviegoers in the front row, brackets, clapping, yelling at the characters on screen, using cell phones. I was wondering where you two fall on the issue. Is some chatter okay in a theatre, or do you prefer a silent atmosphere? Does the type of movie change your opinion? I like to maintain focus on the movie in a silent atmosphere and thus pick daytime showings, top tip, where there are likely to be less people. However, with comedies, I don't mind a lively, albeit respectful audience. Kangaroo. That was the sign-off. That wasn't just losing track of language briefly. Well, of course. I mean, The Stranger seems like a very odd one to be like rowdy in. It's horrid to watch. I saw it when I was quite young to be watching, I think.
Yeah,
but
same.
it really upset me at the time. And I don't think I'd necessarily be cheering along Who are they can only be cheering for the home invaders.
I'm
It
sure
seems like a really
they're the ones that
unfortunate
win. So.
position.
They
always
by
win
the
in
end,
the
they were gravely disappointed.
Yeah, so I guess what?
Gravely disappointed.
Nice. Get that one down for your
I'll write it
for your 90s book.
Yeah.
Oh, remember Bernard's watch? Nuts. I'd watched every episode of Bernard. I remembered the bit where he went shopping, stopped time, and started it to pay. Fucking Bernard, thought me. Yeah, so to answer the questions in order, what's your take on movie theatre atmosphere in general?
I think it does depend on the film, and I think it depends on like how busy the theatre is when it is.
Well,
like,
in a literal sense, it does.
Yeah, like no, but as in terms of what I would abide.
So you're saying if there were 4 people and one of them was going mental,
I'd be displeased.
But if there were 100 and they were all going mad,
again, I'd still be displeased. What I mean is like if I'm in a theatre and it's nearly empty and I can hear someone over there like whispering to their friend, I don't really mind that so much. Because I every now and then like to be able to turn and whisper to like someone I'm with if there's something in particular that.
Hello.
Normally it's if
what would you be
something's amused me on the screen. But like what I don't like is just inane and pointless talking. When my girlfriend and I went to go and see Jackie last year, and there was just this group of people behind us who, like, a scene came on and they were going, "Is that Richard E. Grant? Is that Richard E. Grant? Isn't he British? Yeah, he's British. Is that him though?" I'm like, wait for the credits. His name will be there. What difference does it make to your film going experience if they don't know that now? Like, that's pointless. I'd prefer a rowdier audience at a comedy. There's nothing worse than being the only person laughing in a comedy.
Yeah.
Because I have quite a loud laugh anyway. So it seems even weirder if it's just me.
I compartmentalize film experiences into, like, I would say 90% of the time, my ideal is total deafening silence. I'd like to watch films in, that room where it's so quiet that you can hear your own lungs moving.
Well, you wouldn't like that at all.
I don't have to listen to the heartbeat. I've tuned that out over the years.
No,
I can never hear that.
So quiet you'd hear it.
I would not. I've trained it.
I'd be there next to you.
Beating away. Horrid.
I'd make sure you had mine.
I'm a big fan of silence, and that includes like not eating and stuff. I get really if it's like a film like Jackie, for example, and there's someone sitting next to me like munching away on popcorn, I'd be furious.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's something like The Room, or when I used to go to Fright Fest, then that was quite rowdy. That's a bit more audience interaction. They can be good experiences if it's that.
Yeah,
it's just people should know the context, as with everything.
And I don't mind so long as it's not constant.
Yeah.
Like if there are 2 people who are talking the whole way through, I'm like, well, fuck off. Yeah. Whereas if someone in front of me like turns and whispers something to their mate and they chuckle,
what if they whispered it to you?
I'd actually be quite interested.
What if they turned around and were like, "What's your postcode?"
I go, Isaac? Is that you?
Oh dear. Well, look, I think we should wrap this show up because I thought it was going to be half an hour, and I think we've spoiled the listenership.
Well, I mean, once you edit out the stuff about the chair,
I'm editing out all this Ready Player One. It's going to be only chair. That's the theme of the episode, pretty much. If theme's not too strong a word, and I don't think that it is.
Wow.
So,
episode 69, shafted by Norbert. It's all about a fucking chair.
Look, we've got episode 70 just around the river bend this Sunday. In fact, that's going to be big, isn't it?
That's madness.
How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 4?
7.
Wow, you've misunderstood everything about the question.
175%.
Stop it. Until then, though, how can people get in touch? We've had some excellent correspondence. Just don't take Declan's violent disagreement with you, Mark, as any reflection on your character. We all disagree about some things.
Of course we do. No, Mark and I get along swimmingly.
Yeah, and you would sit there hand in hand to watch Ready Player One at the premiere, if given the opportunity. And I would arrange for you to meet Ernest afterwards and maybe sit next to him chomping away at some 90s, 80s popcorn while he does it. It'd be lovely. Don't eat the book. Don't eat the book now. Before then, though, how can other people contribute to this sphere of shame that we call Shame Mail?
They could email us That's where the mail
part comes in. It's clever, isn't it? Yeah.
See how we did that. The email address for the show is tas, T-A-S, @shame.city. Or you could get in touch via the contact form on the website, shame.city/contact. Should you wish to eschew email, if it's not your thing, then you can find us on Twitter.
Yep.
That's a Shamecast.
Love it.
You can find me personally at Cynical Declan, or you can find Isaac at IsaacBD.
I've just recently rebranded my Twitter and Instagram, and I now have the B emoji after my name. So that's something to enjoy.
Wow.
Yeah, I just felt like, spring's here. It's time for a change.
Is it?
And change.org.
All the flowers are dead.
Don't worry about those guys. Change.org, you're emailing about bees again.
They had a real change of heart the other day. They sent me an email that was titled Elephants.
Kill the bees! Fuck these bees! We were
Turns
wrong all
out they've
along.
been doing nothing for us.
Official retraction. For 30 years, Change.org has solely and exclusively produced reams of support for nature's buzzing cunts. Okay, that's all a lie. But I am at Isaac BD, that bit was true. You can also leave a review for the show, that's very much appreciated. We'd like 5 stars, please.
Imagine if you could have emojis in your handle and you could be Isaac
B emoji, D emoji. Yeah, think on that for a bit.
Will do.
No, please. Reviews, shame.city/review or reviews, one of the two, or just go on iTunes, wherever you find podcasts. Chuck us those 5 stars, one after the other.
And of course, never forget.
I won't.
The most important principle,
Right.
way of life,
Okay.
mantra
Yeah.
that we hear.
Oh, I've only just realised what it is.
That's a shame
I was wondering where
espouse.
you were going.
That's right.
Wommy bomb. Word of mouth.
Is.
Best of mouth. I've been Isaac.
I've been Declan.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.